Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extirpation, undesirable invaders from another world, the rest must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past should be itself? Watch them and pray.
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, government agents, worshippers of Cthulhu, and anyone who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind, still coming to you from the quarantine, nice and separated and socially distanced. I'm your host, Tasker, and we have your other host of evil. It's Nick.
Tasker.
Yeah.
My name is Satan.
Oh.
I have one question for you.
Let me hear it.
Will you be attending my bake sale?
Hey, so man, yeah.
You said you'd be supplying the cookie mix. I need that cookie mix. I'm raising money for orphans.
I also have celiac that I just got diagnosed a minute ago, and
Tasker.
going to your bake sale would literally kill me.
Oh, I'm just kidding, guys. It's me.
Thank God.
Satan is having a bake sale. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I heard he's raising money for orphans, but it's not to save them. I heard that he's literally just trying to get them gathered up into it's going to be like a farm, like a plate, like a pig pen kind of a deal.
Okay.
And he's just going to use it as like a slaughtering house.
That's cute. I mean, that definitely sounds more like him. I mean, a bake sale just sounded a bit too good to be true.
Yeah, but he was taking the incognito approach.
He is a clever guy, as we will find out, because in this episode, we are going to tackle a subject, weirdly enough, is very near and dear to my heart and interesting to me on many, many levels. Satan!
Woo!
Yeah. Woo-hoo. Of course, Satan, the devil, Lucifer, the adversary, the prince of darkness, Beelzebub, the big bad, all those great names.
And my ex-wife.
Zinger.
But that's right. We're going to be and just so you guys know, we will be going over Satan today and then the next episode in anticipation for future episode in which we want to talk about possessions, hauntings, stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's like, in a sense, it's kind of a 101, but also there's a lot really to unpack culturally, as you know, the devil himself is a creature that has been the ultimate evil of like forever, and it's just such a fascinating subject and stuff. So we're planning on it being 2 parts. This is one of those few ones though that might end up being a 3-parter depending on how we play our cards right, but this is going to be a very dark journey for all of us, I'm hoping.
Yes. So everybody, I want you to get your black nail polish on, right? I want you to go shopping for your new goth shit that says like coffee witch and all this stupid shit on it. All right. I know all you fake goths out there love that shit. And I know you like satanic shirts and all that. So let's get into it. So we're going to start by talking about Satan, or the devil, and how he has been the concept of the ultimate evil for most of human history and is portrayed in some form or another in nearly every religion. And it is a little unclear where the story of Satan truly began. It likely had beginnings in ancient times as the portrayal of a leader of demons or supernatural creatures.
See, this is I really like this idea of because organized religion and stuff, you know, that was kind of like towards the end of like the BC era, but before like even most religions were invented and stuff, people were still scared of things, and people still like, you know, back then we didn't really have a lot of explanations for things. So when you heard like a weird chilling wind and then suddenly 3 of your tribesmen drop dead, you didn't think it was the flu, you thought it was the devil. And that's kind of like, you know, I feel like the beginning was like the sort of, it was their anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll let you continue.
Oh, it's an exciting subject, and I understand.
Yeah, I'm kind of losing my mind. I was really glad to like dive into this one and stuff, because like there's just so much gray area with this character, and it's like, oh, it really slobs my knob, if you know what I mean.
Well, the character of Satan is also a means of explaining the concept of what evil is. And as a way to explain where evil people and wicked acts come from. Because, of course, it couldn't be just humans being evil and selfish to each other and raping each other and pillaging villages and killing babies and eating dogs in certain countries. You know what I mean? It's not that.
Yeah, never. And that's a thing, and that's a theme that I think we've come across before, is that humanity, it's not that we're inherently evil, in my opinion. I just think, we would much rather be right than do the right thing. And it's much easier to blame other things or Satan made me do it than actually fess up to the fact that you're a psychopathic maniac.
That's true. But I think it's also important to remember that humans are just animals. Like, in my opinion, there is that innate animalistic drive underneath all of our, societally developed personalities and stuff like that, but that's a whole different podcast. That's like I just got out of prison podcast, so we can do it one.
Yeah, we're slowly transforming into one of those acid changed my life kind of podcasts. Oh man. But also another thing I wanted to note is that of course Satan, as we know, is portrayed in so many different names and in different cultures and different religions, and some in non-religious. But we, on this episode, not to let you down, but we're going to be sticking closer to the Judeo-Christian pop culture Satan, the kind that's like, it's not that we're saying this is the correct explanation and description of Satan. It's just the most popular. It's the most well-known. It's the one that the movies are made after. It's the one that we think most people understand and stuff. And like we say, it's the most typical one. And that's not to say, that like, the Islamic Satan is any better or worse than the Christian Satan, but there's way too many of them. And we had to just stick with the one that we knew the best. And because we're really just like, taking the crowbar to this crate and really just peeking in. Like, this is a super condensed, like, there's no way we would be able to get everything about Satan that's ever been in these episodes. That's we're not getting paid enough to do that quite yet.
Oh no, we're not getting paid at all. So
yeah.
So you guys out there, I know that we're doing this for your entertainment. We're doing it for our interest, but just know that we are trying our best to condense a lot of things about some fake bullshit into into a listenable track for your earballs. Okay. And we're trying our best. So please bear with us. Remember, guys, this is not a Harvard course. We are not your professors. But we are we did, and we are trying to portray and gather as much information as we can for you, because we love you guys.
Yeah. Nothing but affection for our listeners. And wouldn't that be funny though, if on a fluke we end up actually doing a good job and we could maybe get honorary degrees?
Dude, fuck, man. Okay, as soon as this episode comes out, I'm sending it to Harvard.
I mean, dude, hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't make, so who knows? Maybe that's what gets our dissertation in, as a demonologist or something like that.
Oh yeah. And now, before we get into this, you're probably wondering, do I believe in the devil? Quote, the fantastic film The Usual Suspects. Quote, greatest trick the devil ever played. I'm sorry. We will cut that.
Okay. Got the quote wrong. That's so fucking great. Okay.
I wasn't even looking at. Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Quote, greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. So, that being said, let us proceed with caution.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that quote so much. And that's the thing is, like, normally I have, my this is why this is bullshit, and I talk about things being real and things being not. Just as a little context, I called my mom the other day and I kind of told her, like, oh yeah, like, we're talking about doing an episode on Satan and stuff. And that was this is the only subject that has ever, like, made her, like, kind of stop and be like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, Diablo. And actually tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, so that's actually quite appropriate.
Oh man. Okay, so let's begin this hedonistic series by going over the common characteristics and abilities of Satan and the devil. Many different religions and cultures have their own unique takes on the devil, both in personality and physical appearance. Generally, Satan is portrayed as a highly intelligent, manipulative, charismatic, natural leader, and a master of deception. He's also probably pretty hot.
Actually, canonically, he is not only hot, he is considered to be the most like attractive piece of meat in the cosmos.
Is that why? Okay, look, I don't want to be like tooting my own horn, right? But is that why people called me the devil in high school, or was it because I was an asshole?
I think it's because you would swindle people out of their lunch money and then make them bleed afterwards.
Look, man, they weren't going to spend their money on the food. I was going to do it. I know that they're just saving up for cigarettes. I was actually going to go buy a fucking ham and cheese sandwich. All right.
So you're doing them a favor.
Yeah, I'm doing their parents a favor. At least the money's going to food and not smoked. You know.
Vaguely satanic logic, vaguely, but not quite. But also could be your natural boyish good looks back in those days.
Yeah, I've lost all that. Don't worry.
You're now a grizzled warrior.
Exactly. And so due to that that natural charisma and leadership that the devil has, or Satan has, he has an ability to effectively command a force of thousands to millions of demons.
Yeah, you think about it. He's a pretty good military leader. Like, that's tactician. Like, that takes some political power and, some, what's the word? Sociopathy.
Exactly. Sociopathy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's a phrase, deal with the devil, surrounding one of the devil's usual tricks, granting a wish or power, but at a great cost, or the wish is granted with genie logic that favors the devil's goals.
See, if you ever played the game Cuphead, that is the prime example of like a deal with the devil is, hey, beat me in this card game and I'll make you super, super rich. But the devil always plays with loaded dice. In other words, he's a cheater. He always is like, if he challenges you, he's always got, it's like making a wish on a genie. You don't want to do it unless you have a lawyer. Like, his whole thing is being, manipulative and getting what he wants. And I think only the real time somebody ever actually won is that song Devil Went Down to Georgia, because they were like they're fiddlers, right? They played
fiddlers, man.
Yep. And the guy actually beat the devil, but that's one of the rare ones. Usually, and probably realistically, if you came toe to toe with the devil, like, just don't make deals with the devils, everybody.
Yeah, look, unless you want your wiener turned inside out because of some weird loophole, don't do it. I mean, and if that's your thing, then go for it. Like, if you want a free sex change, boom, you got it. You're like, good to go. Tasker, real quick before we continue, what the fuck is a Cuphead?
It's a video game. It's a really hard and good one that has a lot of traditional animation, reminiscent of the old like Tom and Jerry. No, even beat further back from that, like the old Sam Fleischer Studios animation stuff.
Huh.
Do you have any interest in that whatsoever? Or are you just humoring me?
Nodded out. I'm sorry.
Fucking thought so, you piece of shit.
I'm sorry. Okay, so he has the ability to possess or have his subordinates possess willing, unwilling, or weak-minded humans to do his bidding and terrorize the surface world, aka Earth. His level of omniscience on humans is unclear, but it is accepted that he can listen and watch us. Just like who, Tasker? Take a couple guesses. Who else can listen to us and watch us?
Let's see. My neighbors.
Yes.
The birds, which are obviously government spies.
Fake, yes.
And definitely the whoever the government agent on my cell phone.
Oh yeah, your personal FBI agent. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
they're always just chilling. So the goddamn government is what we're trying to say. All right. So I don't want to be making comparisons this early on, but Satan equals government. Don't know. That's something.
That's no coinky dink.
Hell no.
And another thing too, that's like another thing that we're gonna touch on, like here and there is Satan's level of ability versus the level of ability of God himself. Because in this context, we're under the assumption that God is, well, first of all, that God exists and that he is almighty and powerful and omniscient, and he knows what we're thinking, he knows what we're doing, and he knows what we will do. Satan, however, we're under also the assumption that Satan is like a notch below it. Like he's got some pretty far reach, but like I want to say like he probably can't predict the future. He could probably read our thoughts to an extent, but like he's not like, like everywhere all at once. Otherwise, we'd probably all be dead by now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think that he could read our thoughts to a certain degree, just my personal opinion, because I think that's how he and his legion of demons, not to be all World of Warcraft, but I think that in order for them to understand what tempts us, I think they have to know something about us, what's going on in our heads, right? Like, yeah, so for you, they'll be like, oh, this guy wants like a new like what are those pads that you draw on for your career?
Oh, a tablet.
Like a tablet, right? And Nick, yeah, he just wants some cheeseburgers, like, so I'm easy. Like, boom, if you're out there and you're possessed by the devil, and you want me to be possessed, like, if you bring me some fucking McDonald's, buddy, I'll do it for that. You don't even have to possess me, I'll just work for you for that shit. So they already know ahead of time. So I believe they do. I believe they can read minds.
And this is true. They tend to swoop in moments of weakness. And it's good to know that, so your moment of weakness is cheeseburgers, and for me is a nice spanking new computer tablet. That's probably what would get me possessed.
It's that easy. It's bad. I know it's fucking bad.
Because yeah, I'd assume they have this. If they can't read our minds, they at least have like a kind of like how a shark to blood. It's like a demon to sin. Like when you sin and you commit like something, or if you have like naughty thoughts and all that stuff.
Ooh, what kind of naughty thoughts?
That's what piques their interest. But also too, it's like, I don't know, I think they have like a good judgment on like what kind of person you are. And like, I don't know, it's kind of because there's stories of people getting possessed like left and right, but then there's also like people who are like get tempted by shit. But like, I don't know, it's just, maybe it also depends on location. Maybe it depends on maybe just like fucking Verizon. There's a no Satan zone,
Fuck. I mean, I don't know, man. It's complicated. This whole subject is complicated.
It is extremely complicated. That's why I fucking love it.
Me too. But he or they is usually a shapeshifter, most often taking the form of an attractive human male or a large, frightening demonic beast. In popular media, this is the big red horned demon we all know and love. He is male in most portrayals, but there have been iterations of him being a hermaphrodite, which is pretty fucking wicked, feminine or ambiguous, which is also pretty fucking wicked, bro.
Yeah, like, did you ever watch Devilman Crybaby, the Netflix one?
No, never heard of it.
Oh, dude, it's weirdly enough. I mean, okay, man, I know it's anime, but
fuck, here we go. Come on, did you just put me into a fucking trap? What is this, mom, dude? What are you, the Viet Cong? Would you just like dig a hole, put the spikes in the ground with anime at the bottom, and then just like cover it up with leaves real quick?
Look, man, I have never seen so much gore, gratuitous violence, and sex in a single season of like even more so than Game of Thrones. Most people had to shut the show off after episode 2 because it was too intense.
All right, it doesn't sound terrible, but also like, is it in English at least? Like, can I listen and not have to do like homework the whole time and read something, or am I gonna have to like actually read and use my brain?
I mean, I watched it in Japanese, but I'm pretty sure they have a dub because it got pretty popular. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because there is a portrayal of Satan who is like hermaphroditic. Like he does have like both male and female genitalia, and it's this yeah. So to me, it's really interesting in that, like, some say, because of course, I mean, I'm moving on a little bit here, but it's like the idea of evil being attractive and alluring is a super strong concept with Satan. Like, and a super strong concept in general, because we all grow up with like the devil's the big red beast and he's gonna eat your toes and like share your internet browser history and shit. But like, as they say, in a more realistic sense, if like Satan were to appear to you or something like that, he would be something more beautiful and desirable, because he's like a salesman. He's trying to pitch his like cause to you, and he's trying to get you to essentially turn on God, or just get your soul. And then there's that whole thing of like, when you uncover the truth though, and you understand what's really happening, he's this horrible monster and demon thing underneath and stuff. And I think it's as they say, what is it like in The Simpsons, like when Flanders meets his like Canadian clone and loves him until he realizes that he's a weed smoker, and he's like, they always told me Satan would be attractive.
That's true. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's scary stuff, because that's the thing is like, there's in some cases people think of Satan as like a mindless monster, but in other cases like this one. Because I mean, if he is as manipulative as they say, he knows that we as humans, we like our shiny things, we like our attractive things. So I don't know. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me too.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing about Satan is he lives in hell, usually portrayed as the leader of hell, commanding hordes of demons to do his bidding. But he is less free or powerful in some cases. For instance, in Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, he is simply the biggest and most infamous prisoner in hell, with a whole circle dedicated to his imprisonment and torture. If you go into jail the first time, what do, Tasker? You find the biggest, baddest dude there. You beat the shit out of him, and then you become the most infamous prisoner. That's kind of like what Satan did.
Mm-hmm. Sort of. This portrayal of Satan is fascinating. Well, not only am I just like so like infinitely interested in Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, and of course this book is Inferno, which in the literature world, it's the first time an author really tried to come up with a tangible description of what hell is like. But it also describes Satan as actually powerless. Like he actually can't really do shit to any of us. He doesn't command anybody. He's not this like almighty dark king. He's just a fucking shitty, like, he just got fucked over because he turned on God, and now he's just stuck there forever, like living his best in prison.
Hey, are we all trying to do that right now though?
Yeah. Yeah, there was that argument too of like, what's worse, being homeless or being in prison? And well, we live in America, so it's sad that we even have that discussion.
Yeah, but fuck it. That's a different podcast.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we're getting closer to Acid Podcast. We're right there.
Almost there. Most portrayals, he is the ultimate representation of the deadly sin of pride, a demon full of hubris and self-interest who believes he is literally God's gift to the universe. Think of that one friend who got popular and then believes all the suck up bullshit they're fed by the other people, and then give them second to godlike power, and then see how they turn out.
Yeah, I know you all have a friend out there who's like that, who's like, they were chill until they got popular, and then now imagine now they can read your mind and possess you. Like, dude, it's a fucking Satan is a shit show of a creature. Like he is. Oh my God. Like, sorry, I'm a little triggered.
Okay, Tasker, look, high school's over, all right? I know you're getting flashbacks and shit, but it's over, man. We made it out. We're good now.
I hope I'm a better person for it.
Y'all are.
Yes, yeah. Ugh. Anyways.
Satan can also simply be a powerful cosmic being seeking to commit pure evil with his following of equally evil creatures.
So Satan is not necessarily just religious. Like there's also an atheistic standpoint of he could just be just like a giant like monster. And in some perspectives, they say actually Satan is the ruler of the planet Earth, but he's a god. He's essentially a god, but not the god. So he has like power, and we're being ruled by this evil creature, but like he isn't like the ultimate like evil, but yeah, there's a lot of different interpretations of that.
Yeah, but he's like an entity out there, like so more of a cosmic level of things, like, so don't think of it theistically, but it's more of like think like Thanos. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a really good comparison. Yeah.
That big purple looking motherfucker, kind of like Thanos.
So Satan he's Red Thanos. That's basically it.
Red Thanos in this theory.
I'm fucking loving this episode already, man. I'm already picturing big red Diablo Satan with his like infinity stones like embedded in his chest, because you know he's got to do some metal shit like that.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
As the Satan narrative began to modernize and seep its way into pop culture, Satan began to be more portrayed as elegant, educated, more human, and interestingly, more sympathetic. A flawed Satan made him all the more dangerous as he could relate to the naturally flawed humans more than an almighty and omniscient God, and thus more easily deceive them to his side.
You heard that right, folks. Satan is, in personality, technically speaking, more relatable to us and more closer to real humanity than somebody like an almighty and omniscient, all-seeing God. But that's how he gets us. That's his number one trick. Don't fall for it, people, because this podcast is not only to inform, we want you to help to defend. You know, we want your souls to be intact.
Or at least I want your souls. So like save them for me. Like, you know what I mean? Don't be giving them away to some asshole named Satan that lives on 3rd Street just because he's a hobo with the name Satan. No, save him for me, you know? I'm relatable to you guys, right? I'm a regular everyday Joe. Give me your soul.
So what are you going to do with all these souls? I mean, do you really even have like a reasonable use for them?
Well, I'm working on a receptacle to even keep them in right now. I'm kind of just copying what Ghostbusters did, you know, with their ghost receptacles. But I'm thinking it's going to work the same. I'm going to get all these people's souls, and then what I plan on doing is I want to live in someone else's shoes, and I want to be different for a day, you know? Maybe every day I could be somebody different. So I'm going to take their souls, and I don't know how you inject souls into yourself. I don't know if it's like a pill, whether it's like you swallow it or if it's a suppository, you know what I mean? I'll probably do the latter and see if that works. And then I'll just be a different person every day. So give me your souls.
I would love the twist of the only way to inject souls is suppository. But also, man, don't lie to me. You're going to make a soul cheeseburger. You just want a big old meal of that sweet spiritual beef.
I'm going to put all your souls in between 2 buns, right? Brioche. I don't do that sesame seed shit. This isn't China. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, this is one of the few things I'll actually really agree with you on. Brioche is 100% better.
Hell yeah, dude! Come on, sesame seeds getting stuck in your teeth and shit, and then you know it's no tomato.
Okay, fine.
No tomato, man. Come on now. No onion.
Okay, I could dig it.
Ketchup and mustard.
I'm not a big condiment guy.
I know I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not fucking getting into it. Cheese.
Yeah, cheese is good.
3 patties.
3 patties. Ooh, that's a big one.
And then the souls all in between that. That's what I'm gonna eat. That sounds really good. Like, okay, and then bacon.
Oh man, I love how you're actually you're literally giving yourself the hugest opening to get possessed.
Fuck it, man. I'm hungry. Just bring it in. Bring it in. If you supply the cheeseburgers, I'm right here, buddy.
Yeah, and actually, if you got possessed on the air, that would be that might actually that might boost our what is it? Our visibility a bit.
I mean, or that we can get shut down by the Vatican. I don't know, one way or the other, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens first.
Satan is an entity, a wide variety of cultures that goes by many names. If we could play the Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil without getting copyright striked, you would hear the line, "Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name." Actually, hold on. Let me sing it. I'm going to sing it for you guys because this is my jam. All right.
It's a good song.
Meet you. Hope you guessed my name. That's my Mick Jagger.
That's pretty good, man. And also, since you did your own interpretation of it, we can't get copyright striked for it.
That's right. That's creativity right there. So suck my nuts, FCC. What do you do about
it? See, we're snaking around all kinds of rules like a certain serpent.
Ooh. That being said, there are some of these are some of the more common names for him. Name devil has its roots in the Latin term diabolus, root of diabolical and the Greek diabolos. I'm hoping I'm saying these right, guys. I Latin's a dead language, all right? And I've never been to the Vatican, so I don't know how to fucking speak it.
I
Oscar,
mean, it
what did I do?
sounds. What's up?
What did I do?
It sounded Latin and it sounded Greek. So I think you're good. I think you're in the green.
Hell yeah. Satan, right? The classic, the one, the big guy, the one we've been talking about. Now, this is derived from the Hebrew term ha-Satan. How was that? I haven't been to Hebrew school in let's see, what day is it? What is it? It's a Monday. I don't think I've ever actually been to Hebrew school. How did I do on that one?
I just think of that episode of as a kid that old show Rugrats where you have to ha when you say it.
Oh, ha Satan.
But realistically, I don't know any Hebrew or how that stuff is supposed to be pronounced. So we'll just go with that. And yeah, if we're wrong, well, I think somebody will tell us.
Yeah, they will. Or the Satan, which was more of a title than an entity. And that's what that means in Hebrew is the Satan. This means adversary or opponent, derived from a verb that means to block or to oppose, and was originally more meant to be directed at other people and not necessarily towards, like an evil entity like Satan.
Well, yeah, that's to me, I love this because calling somebody like literally, it was just an insult, really. Like you call somebody, it's like, yeah, that Satan over there being a piece of shit because he's your opponent. He's your foe, like your enemy that's what you would call them. And what had happened, if you don't mind me taking over here, was
I don't mind. I'm just gonna sit back and sip on my fucking sparkling water.
Oh, you enjoy? Is it Soul sparkling water?
Mm-hmm.
crafty. But sorry, I got to nerd out on this one because I love this. So what happened was over time, at this point, the idea of Satan and like the devil, like especially in like I mean, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I know that in some Jewish beliefs, they like Satan and the devil isn't really a thing. Like there isn't really a king of evil or anything like that. So the idea of the devil hadn't really been popularized quite yet. So calling somebody a Satan was just like, or the Satan or a Satan over there is like, pretty normal. But what had happened is as the idea of the devil became more popularized and became more of a like, like what would we call the ultimate like, treacherer of God is, well, you would call him a Satan like you would your regular enemy. But it became like more intense because he was not only an adversary of you, but he was an adversary of God himself.
Right.
And right. So Satan started to like exclusively mean the devil. And then whenever they used the word just Satan, that meant for more of just like people. But that context, it's kind of hard to ignore because when you're saying Satan and then you just call somebody a Satan, they're not just going to be like, they're not just going to take it because you're like, hey, man, that's a little too close. And the association ended up combining the words together. And then Satan just became just the devil entirely because, that's it kind of outweighed just, a regular insult.
Damn, interesting. Yeah, I guess people really have a way of getting into other people's skin, huh?
Yeah, and I love how half of the reason why language evolves is just because we're all just finding new creative ways to insult each other.
Yeah, just because the fuck off didn't work for the Jews, so they were just like, you know what, I'm going to call this guy Satan and see how he likes it.
More or less, and that word got power over time. So I don't know if that's still a thing people say. I imagine not.
Next up is Lucifer, the fallen angel, right? And I'm sure many of you out there have heard Lucifer. It's a fucking badass name. Latin translation of Hillel, meaning light bringer. Hillel is Hebrew, meaning shining one or morning star. This refers to his position of, you know what? Okay, before I continue, I want to say something about morning star, okay?
Yeah, what?
Just made a connection in my mind. There is a... Okay, I don't want to come out and just start saying stuff about vegans and vegetarians, right?
Right.
But there is a frozen food, a frozen vegan / vegetarian food brand called Morningstar. Okay. Now, is there a connection?
So are you implying that because of one single dish that shares the translated name of the name that Lucifer
It's
is
a whole
based
company.
on. Oh, it's a whole company? Oh, dude, yeah, no, they're devils. They're demons.
Oh yeah. Knew it. Well, I'm trying to more imply the fact that maybe there's like a secret underground vegan devil worshipping ring going on. You know, like maybe you shouldn't trust the vegans and vegetarians. But that's just me. Like, I don't want to be that guy, you know, who's ragging on them all the time. But I mean,
And that's a little the name comparison. It's a little close for comfort. Like that's not a bad. I mean, dude, who knows what companies are actually, you know, Satan worshipers? Which, by the way, Satan worshipers and Satanists are two different things. Which
two
we will
different things.
we will get into that next episode for sure. But like,
yeah.
there, who knows? Who's to say what companies are actually Satan worshipers and stuff? And some people say most of the time companies only become successful is because they did make a deal with the devil, and that's why they have their success and their money. And who knows, maybe this vegan company might be doing the same.
I fucking knew it, dude. I never trusted those bastards. I never trusted them. Never trusted the vegans. All right, sorry. That was a little bit of, okay, that's a sidetrack. I saw the name. I had to say something. All right. I couldn't let injustice flow by me.
This is fair, and I'm glad you're getting it out of your system.
Thank you.
And of course, too, just to like bring up, in some people say that Hillel, which is, you know, where the word Lucifer comes from, was his original name before he was cast out of hell and then turned to Lucifer. But also there's people saying that he was just Lucifer to begin. It's just, you know, there's so many stories about it. It gets a little convoluted.
Yes, exactly. We want to reiterate that because remember, this ain't Harvard.
Yep, exactly. We're shotgunning a bunch of knowledge.
Well, this refers to his position of being once a highly regarded angel of heaven who fell from grace to become the ultimate evil. One of the more commonly known origin stories of the devil, because a lot of us, especially if we grew up Christian, know the story.
Yep, exactly. I mean, his name means the shining one or the light bringer. He was in essence, the pride and joy of heaven. He was considered to be one of the greatest, most gorgeous, beautiful men to ever exist, or you know, the hermaphroditic, whatever he is, because he's yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, we're coming. We're honing in on you, Nick. We're starting to figure out your whole. You're using this podcast for your own satanic means because you are Satan.
Well, what can I say, boys? What can I say? Except for come to my bake sale. You know what I mean? We're trying to get this farm together. It's going to be beautiful.
Oh, I'm glad you're being proactive during the quarantine.
Thank you. All right. Well, next up we have Beelzebub, another one that I'm sure you've heard of but didn't know much about. Beelzebub means, or Lord of Flies, is originally a bastardization of the name of the Philistine god Baal-Zebul, or Baal the Prince, which I think is a boss in a video game I fought once.
Actually, you're not wrong, and I'm taking over again because we're getting into some history shit. You're probably thinking of Diablo. In that series, there is a I don't know if he goes by Beelzebub in that game, but there is like a Lord of Flies or a Lord of Lies and Baal something or another. But anyways, great game. Can't wait for the fourth one. Philistines, I knew almost nothing about it, but I knew that it was like considered like an insult to call somebody a Philistine. And apparently they were, because to call somebody a Philistine is basically somebody who like refuses to accept like a change of thought or this and that. And that stems from the fact that the Philistines were biblical rivals of the Israelites. And I think it's hilarious that the name Beelzebub is literally Israelites making fun of a Philistine god by literally changing their name, which is like, you know, Baal the Prince, into Beelzebub, which means Lord of Flies, which is basically saying your god is shit. Like your god is like, he ain't no god of nothing. He just rules the flies and stuff. But what's interesting is it started off as just an insult, but at some point the Philistines vanished from written history. I didn't get too into it, but I'm assuming they just got entirely killed off, and because nobody really liked them, and they ended up sometimes, you know, back then, you know, news did not travel very far. So sometimes whole entire people would just get genocided off and nobody would be the wiser. They just ceased to exist. Really scary times. But the name Beelzebub still stuck. Like it was still around and to the point, and it wasn't really making fun of anything anymore because they didn't exist. So Beelzebub just sort of became its own thing. And like, the term, like with Satan, the term just kind of stuck. But also there's an argument and that Beelzebub is actually a completely separate entity. Like, so in some stories, Beelzebub is Satan. In other stories, he's actually one of, I didn't even know this was a thing. There's the 7 princes of hell, which is like essentially like the devil's archangels or like his top demons and stuff. So it just depends on your source, and it depends, but it can mean either one.
Damn. Looks like ATAP's history's back, boys. You guys breaking out your notebooks?
Dude, I'm on a roll. I love this shit. Like, this is like, it's history, but it's also like dark and evil, but it's like, like, I don't know, dude, like I said, man, I'm all kinds of on fire today.
Good, man. I'm glad.
Feeling good.
Next up is Apollyon, which means the destroyer. A little bit more uncommon compared to the other ones. Like, I personally, before we did this, I didn't even know about this one.
Oh yeah, the only reason I know about this is because of Binding of Isaac. It's one of the characters. By the way, not the biblical story. I mean the video game that I sunk 500 hours in, and also just recently completed all the achievements.
Wow, you getting money for that, or
nope, just empty satisfaction.
Good. Okay, well, this describes the Hebrew angel that resides in Sheol. I don't know how to pronounce that. How did I do, Tasker?
I think Sheol's correct.
Nice. Sheol, which is a dark place more closely compared to Hades than hell. Hades, of course, being from the Greek pantheon and mythology.
Yeah, and so it's not necessarily a place of torture and punishment, but it's just the afterlife. So Sheol's just basically good or bad. That's where your souls go.
Also known as the ruler of Abaddon, which means place of destruction. Abaddon is sometimes used as a name for Satan as well, which is a pretty fucking cool name.
I was about to say Abaddon's fucking badass. Like, that's such an oh, it's just so metal, and it's also the name of an item in Binding of Isaac, which is a very good item, by the way.
Hey, good. What does the item do, Tasker? You should probably just tell people now.
Oh, wait, why not? It gets rid of all your health, but gives you temporary health instead, and boosts your attack and gives you a fear shot, which means it hits your enemies and it makes them run away from you.
I mean, it sounds like you just gave yourself an Abaddon.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm trying to be insulted, but I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it.
I don't think it was a very good insult.
But the effort is worth it, and I think Satan is nodding his head somewhere,
Good. Next up is where the metal starts playing a little bit in the background, right? So we have the dragon, the beast, the false prophet. 3 forms of Satan in the book of Revelation that exist simultaneously. And we will dive a little bit deeper into this the next episode, since these names tie more into Satan's role in the apocalypse.
Yeah, that shit's juicy. Like, this is, definitely like in the future episode, but yeah, like the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. Like, this is all just sounding like we could just take quotes from this episode and make a whole like metal album out of this, because all the names and all the words, like, it's cool. It sounds cool. All the villains get all the coolest names.
Dude, I've been writing down gore grind music track titles this whole time. How did you know I was doing that, dude? Great minds think alike.
I know, man, because I'm doing the exact same thing. It's just, that is that creative force,
Last but not least in this section, we have Hades. And this is from an entirely different mythology and most often considered an entirely separate being. But Satan and Hades do have common characteristics of ruling over the dead and having a legion of monsters at their disposal. And Hades, of course, being from the Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm. And I think the major difference is, I mean, Hades is still kind of a son of a bitch, but he's just doing his job, and he has like a sort of kind of a reason for being a dick, because especially with like, the gods of Olympus, like he definitely got the short end of the stick being god of the underworld. He didn't even want to do it. And like, they're all just kind of assholes to each other. Like, they're all sleeping with each other's wives and like screwing each other over and making fun of each other whenever they can,
It literally sounds like my life right now. Like it literally sounds like me. Like I'm a dick because I hate my job and I'm screwing people over left and right. So I can relate with Hades. I can relate with this guy.
So maybe you aren't Satan, but maybe you are in fact a modern iteration of Hades reincarnated.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? The way that you explained it kind of makes me think Hades is like a doomer version of Satan, where he's just kind of like given up on life. He's still kind of an asshole.
I would watch a TV show about that. That would be very enjoyable. Satan is just a doomer and just like wears like hoodies and smokes cigarettes and drinks beer all the time and just watches like replays on YouTube.
Listening to Russian post-punk and just like it's like 3 a.m.
He would have to have a Russian accent too. I think that would just make it that much better.
Bro, like I don't want to come here anymore. I'm tired of living my life. You tell me I have to watch over the dead? No, I do not watch over the dead.
I so bored. I turned souls into cheeseburger. It does not feel the void.
Fucking asshole up on earth. He wants cheeseburger souls. I give it to him. He doesn't even thank me. Do you think I like my job? Oh, I fucking hate my job, bro.
Some asshole online told me that souls need to be taken like suppository.
I tried it and it didn't work.
I'll work on the pilot script, and maybe if this whole podcast thing doesn't work, hey man, we can make a fortune making our little TV show.
Hell yeah, dude. So now let's get into some of the less dramatic depictions of Satan, or a Satan who is not an almighty godlike demon, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And this is that reiteration. A lot of this stuff is the story of Satan is so convoluted. There's so many different versions of him that there are things that technically are him, technically aren't him, might be controlled by him, might be their own thing. We don't know, because for a time, also remember, the devil wasn't even a concept. It wasn't even, one could say, created yet. So that's why we're doing this section to kind of break that down.
Let's put it this way, everybody. These stories come from people who believe, just as an example, right? And this isn't even like the whole thing, but some of these stories came from people who thought the plague started because the Pope was jerking off too much. Right? There's not a lot of solid information here, and everything contradicts everything else. Okay, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, it's like back then it was like online when you see that thing where it's like somebody gives a fact and somebody's like, really? Like, and then he's like, the source is, trust me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are gonna have to trust us. All right, you guys are gonna have to trust us, bro. That's exactly what's happening here.
That's gonna be our source for all of our podcasts from now on.
Trust me, bro. We'll put that again. Bro. Yeah, I'll put it in I'll put it in our bibliography and everything.
Oh, I can't wait.
All right, well, first is the serpent, right? So not explicitly Satan, the serpent is often claimed to be the work of him or a form of him. Canonically, the serpent was just a dick who wanted to mess with Adam and Eve and do hood rat shit with his friends. Why can't he just do hood rat shit with his friends?
I know, even back then, sometimes you just got to be a thug. But it's interesting in how there is, in some tales, they say the serpent is explicitly Satan. But in the actual Bible, it's a serpent. It's just a snake. And it's the story of how the snake how snakes used to have like legs and stuff. And sorry, man, you mind if I take over again? This is another, like, I'm heating up.
I can feel your teeth grinding. So in order for it to stop grinding, I need you to take over.
Yes. So, biblical story of the Garden of Eden, which is considered actually by most scholars to be mythical, because, and also this is Old Testament stuff. In some sections of Christianity, the Old Testament is basically like just myths, like basically just stories meant to like give morals and stuff. There are certain sections that basically say Old Testament isn't really real and the New Testament is real, but that's a whole other debate that can get me into a lot of trouble. So we'll save that for when we're a little bit more established. But of course, the biblical story in the Christian Bible, in the book of Genesis, is that after God created the universe, Adam and Eve, the first humans, were created to live in paradise as sort of God's like conduits on the planet Earth. But they had one stipulation, is that they could not eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because half of what made humanity so pure is the fact that they didn't have knowledge of what was good and what was bad. So they just can, live in peace and harmony. So the story is that, and a common like misconception, or I don't know if this is true or whatever, but is they say that the serpent slides in and dupes Eve first, and then Eve ropes Adam into it, which has, led to a lot of people like, roasting women for, causing all the problems and stuff, which is
not nice, boys. Don't
it is not
do it.
nice.
As many jokes as we have about it, don't do it. It's not true.
Because it's actually, there's a very common portrayal that they both got duped at the same time, or the fact that Eve got duped and Adam was not convinced by Eve at all, but said, fuck yeah, like that's awesome, like I want some of that shit, and all he needed was to see somebody doing it. And then so it's it's both of their faults is what I'm trying to say,
right?
And by doing so, this essentially cursed humanity forever, because by having knowledge of good and evil, you also had knowledge of like shame of like, oh shit, we're naked, and suddenly like they would like they'd just be like fucking for fun, but then it turned into like lustful fucking,
Nice.
And that became a thing. And then sin became, because they disobeyed God. And as they say, knowledge is power, but also like knowledge can also lead to crippling depression. And by suddenly attaining knowledge, which God deprived of them in order to keep them in like a paradise state, they just were fucked forever. And they also say that in that curse too, that's, why snakes don't have legs, like I mentioned before. But what was really interesting is that apparently Adam and Eve, of course, had the tree of knowledge and then got punished by being casted out. I think they said Adam's curse was that he had to work till he died. And Eve's curse, for, of course, with women, was that childbirth would be incredibly painful and stuff. And like, menstruation, having a period would be a thing.
What's that? What is that you just said?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Menstruation.
Yeah, it's a period.
What's a period?
Yeah, your time of month, man, when you're a woman and you're not making a baby. So what's up?
It's 12:47. The time of the month is 12. It's right now. It's 12:47.
This is correct, but I'm not going to give you you're distracting me. God damn it. No, we'll have our biology lesson in the outtakes.
Is that where they pee out of their
Okay, I'm going to stop. So Adam and Eve ate from the tree of life. No, they ate from the tree of knowledge, but there is a chance that God was actually worried that after eating from the tree of knowledge, they would also eat from the tree of life, which would have made them immortal and pretty close to God's level. So who knows? Maybe it's like, what was that? What's crazy about this quote is it's from Spy Kids, is that you think God himself stays in heaven because he lives in fear of what he created?
So you're telling me that he's just some petty guy?
In some stories, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to blame him. I understand why he did that. Like, okay, so let's say I was like the world's best bodybuilder, right?
Okay.
And I specifically told these two dudes to not take the specific steroid that I take because it's my secret to the biggest muscles in the world. Then all of a sudden, I see these dudes with used needles shooting their butts up in the locker room with the exact same shit I told them not to shoot up with, because they're going to get closer to me and I'm not going to be pissed about it. So I kind of see what he's saying.
Oh, yeah. And this is Old Testament God, who was, I wouldn't even say petty, but just a God of fury, like a God of like, not malice because he loved his creations, but he was very quick to like, I mean, dude, the story of Noah, he literally wiped out humanity at one point because they disappointed him.
Fucking awesome.
So of course that's Old Testament God, which is different than New Testament God, who is a lot more forgiving and is a lot more willing to like, listen to his people and give them a fair shot.
I like the little path you took us down. It was interesting because, I mean, of course, people know the story, but there's different takes on the story that you explain, which is awesome. My take on the whole story is the serpent isn't Satan. It isn't a snake. it's literally a reptilian. Adam and Eve, assuming it's true, were influenced by a snake, aka a reptilian, in order to gain knowledge. But remember, that is a knowledge trap. Okay, that is a trap. And now,
So
now they're controlling us because Adam and Eve decided to listen to a reptilian.
So I don't want to fucking feed this nonsense you're shoveling onto me, but according to your theory of humanity being not of this world, like we're not actually born of this planet, maybe the Garden of Eden and all that stuff is true. It was just on a different planet, and
Precisely.
That's when the reptilians saw their potential in farming us. So they, it's no, I fucking no. I don't.
Think about it, Tester. You said it yourself.
I don't feel good about supporting this.
Look, we were okay as humans, according to Adam and Eve. The story, we were created right out of mud or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Right?
Yeah.
So mud, and then Eve was created from the rib of Adam, right?
Yeah.
So what if that's just a way that like old stupid people from back in the day described scientific experimentation
when we were being made in a lab?
We were being made in a lab on a different planet because it was a jungle like area, right? The Garden of Eden,
right?
So it was like a jungle planet. Reptilians. I mean, I don't know what their planet looks like, but I can assume it's probably got a lot of rocks and it's probably got plants.
Mm-hmm.
So what if Snake was a reptilian and then they created us? They wanted to like sow the seed of control in our brains early on with the two very first humans ever created, and then they sent us to Earth to procreate. And then now we're kind of like a farm, like which we are right now. We are literally a farm for the reptilians anyway. It all worked out.
I am always impressed at your ability to somehow turn everything into a alien reptilian origin story.
I mean, look, I'm thinking outside the box. All right. I'm not listening to all this fake shit. Right. I know what's really going on here, Tasker. You even said it would kind of make sense yourself. You were about to say that. You were almost there.
It makes sense for the story, but so basically you're saying that the Old Testament is canon. It just didn't happen on this planet.
I'm saying it's canon. That's my stance.
Well, you heard it straight from the source, folks. We're uncovering all kinds of truths here, I guess.
All right. Well, next up is Satan. Okay, not to be confused with Satan. Much more.
This is going back to the. Sorry, but this is going back to the Ha Satan thing. Like, so like a Ha Satan, it's like back in the, of course, like we talked about earlier. Originally, that was a term you would use for just somebody who's your opponent, but when it started to have a more supernatural context. Calling something or a Satan is a creature that isn't the devil, but is, he's up to no good. It's essentially like a standard demon. And the best, I think, description I found of what a Satan might be, or a creature that could be described as a Satan, would be in the biblical story of Job. So it's not Job, it's Job. And if you ever watched, what's that show? Arrested Development. They have a character like that.
Yeah, that's a good show.
It is a good show. But so the story of Job, in case you forgot, is that and like the serpent, it's not clear whether or not this creature is Satan or not, but fits the description of being a Satan or a demon up to no good. Is essentially Job was a devout follower of God. He was a very holy man, and he had like a wife and kids and a big old farm, and he was doing pretty good. So this creature basically approached God. So that's another thing too, is these creatures are able to talk and communicate with God. Basically struck up a conversation saying like, hey man, like, bet you I could get this guy to turn on you. And God's like, bet. So what this guy, he basically let this thing just completely ruin his life. Like, I don't know specifically what happened, but like I know like he made a plague happen and like it killed all of his crops, and then like his wife left him, and then his dick stopped working, and like I don't know, all kinds of nonsense. but he still retained his faith in God. And, the allegory there is, have faith in God in even the worst of times. Because that's what the Old Testament was all about, was telling stories to create to explain morality and how to be a better person. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get too deep on what beliefs are and what's right and what's wrong. But I've always felt like the biggest angle I have on the Bible is using it as a guideline of because back then, dude, keep in mind, this is back in the days when somebody stole your crop, you just kill him and then be done with it. So the Bible is a sort of hey man, what if you didn't murder people instead? When you're mad, what if you tried to talk things out? What if you tried to just, not cause mayhem and destruction? But we can get into that at a different time. But yeah, a Satan is basically something that might do something satanic, but is kind of an unclear creature of origin, but is powerful enough to have a discussion with other, biblical creatures.
Hell yeah. Sounds like a nice, little chaotic life.
Yeah, basically. It's just you just hood rat shit.
Hood rat shit. Remember, I want to do hood rat shit with my friends. So maybe I'm a Satan, okay? And that's fine.
I love how this episode, it's like one of those online quizzes of finding out what Disney character you are, but we're trying to figure out what kind of Satan Nick is.
So far, I'm a mix between a Satan and Hades, I think. I'm somewhere in the middle there.
I don't know where I would fit in. I feel like I think I'm closer to Doom or Satan.
Yeah, Doom. I think we're all a little bit Doom or Satan nowadays.
Oh boy.
Next up is my favorite. Okay. We have the comic relief in the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages were a tough time for everybody, and nobody really had time to put the fear of the devil in anyone because everybody was dying left and right because of plagues being created by the Pope who jerked off too much, like I mentioned earlier. All know what happened.
And also just constant warfare or barbarianism. People were just you didn't know if you were going to live tomorrow.
Exactly. The devil is portrayed as a bumbling, pathetic moron who is often farting or messing up his own evil schemes in the background. And to be quite honest, it's kind of cute. All right. Kind of a cute little take on him where he's just how much for your soul? You know what I mean?
He was the Middle Ages version of what is that from South Park? Terrence and Phillip.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah. He literally in a lot of his portrayals and stuff. The devil was a concept back then, but they didn't really get deep into him, and they weren't really there wasn't a demon to be feared. He was, like you said, quite literally comic relief. He was this big evil, which in a sense is an interesting way to portray him as the opposite of God, as whereas God is this wholesome, all-knowing, benevolent ruler of everything, and the devil is just it's toilet humor.
As everybody knows, toilet humor is Nick's specialty. Okay, I don't know if there's anything in particular that stands out to you guys over the last 19 episodes, but my comedy is not subtle. So neither is the devil's. So this is by far my favorite version so far, is the comic relief of the Middle Ages, the farting devil.
He's kind of a fun guy to have around, I'm you're all doing the real shit of oh man, I wonder how I could not get my family murdered by barbarians today. And then Satan comes in, he's well, I can help you out by if you sold me your soul. And then he shits himself and slips in it.
Comes in drunk. Hey, I don't know if I told you guys this, but if you give me your soul, I can maybe let you tickle my pickle for the same price. That be of interest to you guys? Satan, look, we got a lot going on, there's a plague going around, and 2 of my pigs died, and that's our literal source of income, and I haven't bathed in a year. So maybe you could just get no, it's cool, just give me your soul real quick. Let me just get, do you guys have any ale? You guys have any extra ale I could get off you too? I'm just kind of feeling like I need a drink.
Somebody walks by with a literal vat of pickles and trips and it spills all over him.
I fucking love that shit. I love this version so much. That's mine. I decided. I don't want to be Hades the Doomer. I want to be this guy. I want to be this fucking idiot.
Just drunkenly shows up, demands people's souls, gets doused in pickle juice, and then just drinks more.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm already doing it. I may as well be like, I may as well be regarded as a god, you know?
Mm-hmm. But I'm also kind of surprised by that too. That was one of the things that I did not expect in that the Middle Ages, of a time where I thought people would be super religious. Actually, no, they were just too like preoccupied with their day to day, and that, yeah, actually the devil was not a big deal.
Not a big deal, man. He was just kind of an idiot.
Yep. Oh, it's kind of it's a little it's sweet.
It's sweet. It's kind of endearing, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But this next one is a little bit less so.
It is badass. So let's get into it. So the last one on our list here is the cosmic entity unrelated to God or heaven. Satan is almost always considered to be godlike in power and ability, but might not necessarily be the true tales of God's heads.
Mm-hmm.
An evil ruler of universes or planets, which feels more Lovecraftian or eldritch in nature, is kind of what we're going for here when we're talking about this theory. So it's not necessarily, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier in the episode, right, Tasker, where it's not going to be related to a religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Thanos, right? Are we talking about the Thanos, kind of like a Thanos version here?
Yeah, so this is Red Thanos for sure. Like, he is like, and in some explanations of this version of Satan, the non-religious Satan, is that he actually is the ruler of the planet Earth, and we're ruled by this evil demon king. Or maybe not necessarily that, but maybe he rules like the universe, or he's just some big, like, tyrant. And being that he probably, like, he's godlike in power and ability, but like, he might not have like the omniscience we would expect from a religious deity of sorts. So like, God, I just realized how much like we're gonna lose all of our like religious listeners off of this episode. Oh, so much blasphemy.
It's gonna, yeah, but I mean, look, no topic is off limits. It's like comedy, guys. If we start excluding things because it's touchy, then we're just discriminating and we're not being true to you guys, and we're not being true to ourselves.
This is very, very true. And also too, just because we're not trying to convince you that your way of thinking is wrong. We are simply giving the other narratives that exist out there. And what you can believe what you want to believe, but come on, it's kind of interesting to hear what other people think, right?
Yeah, and who the fuck is okay? And okay, look, if you guys are religious out there, do what you want to do, believe what you want to believe. We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna get mad at us for this and you've listened this far, there's a problem with you. Okay. No offense. I'm just saying, look, I've said worse things, and also we've had dumber topics. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is true. And you do have a good point. If you made it this far, like, hey, man, you might as well stick through it. It's like reading smut, like, for the first time. You might be like, oh my God, that's so offensive. But, you keep reading because it's interesting.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, got a little sidetracked there. Sorry, just random thoughts. Like I said, itchy trigger finger today. I am just topics left and right. I can't control it.
Yeah, he didn't take his Ritalin this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the fucking quarantine. There's no more drugs to be had. But yeah, with cosmic entity Red Thanos Satan, like he doesn't have that omniscience, is what I was trying to say. So it's like he probably can't read minds. It's probably, actually, dude, Red Thanos is literally the best way to describe it. I actually can't think of a better way, where it's just he rules by force. He's very enigmatic. He's got charisma, but he's also just like crazy evil. Like, that's
an army. He can travel through the universe. Yeah, it's just a giant red Thanos, man. That's the only way to picture it now.
Yeah, I literally, like, I feel like I had a way to describe it, but like I don't anymore. And now I like, oh man, that's so cool. Anyways, yeah. So that's basically cosmic entity Satan, who is I mean, I'm not super well versed in Lovecraftian stuff, and being a part of this podcast, I'm assuming that's going to have to change. But
yes.
This is something more in like Lovecraftian, like kind of more closer to like Cthulhu also too, of a sort of a god monster who just like doesn't necessarily politically rule, but is just like this ultimate creature that people that worship, and like, you know, and that's like the whole Satan worshipers and stuff, which, as I will reiterate once again, different than Satanists.
Very different, and we're going to be getting into that in an upcoming episode, because I'm fucking passionate about that. All right.
Oh,
I don't want to get too much into it, but it just pisses me off when I hear certain things like, okay, all right, I'm good. I'm having heart palpitations, but I'm not dying yet. All right. I'm not going to get this worked up.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, and as we wrap up this part one, the nature of Satan is scary. Like, it's a scary topic. Like I said, I got a teeny little bit of blowback when people were hearing that we were going to do this episode. And I had to keep assuring them, like, no, we're going into more of like the literary elements of Satan and like the story and the character. We're not trying to summon him, but it's like, but it is a very scary subject. Well, you do that on your own time, man. Don't rope me into this. I actually can't sleep at night. God damn it. And I mean, and also too, I was even thinking if some like super like scary shit started happening, dude, I'd fucking pull the plug on this shit so quick.
Okay. All right. I promise I won't do anything yet.
Oh yeah. Like I kind of grew up with like, you know, a Catholic upbringing and stuff. So I mean, I do have that like inherent fear of like demons and the afterlife and all that stuff. So you heard it straight from the source. I think all that reptilian stuff is garbage, but like, yeah, maybe, but deserving. But when it comes to like ghosts and like possessions and like demons and the stuff, to me, that's a gray area. Like, I want to say I don't believe in that kind of stuff, but dude, when it turns like nighttime, or no, actually, better example, and I'm gonna tell this story because you tried to do this to me one time, is you wanted to use a Ouija board, and not only did I have a Catholic upbringing, but I'm also half Hispanic, so there is that sort of you know, there's this connection. They say that if you have like Hispanic ethnicity, anything in that culture, there's a sort of not affinity for the spiritual world, but there's a sort of like they have a reputation for being like having a sort of like extra level of like sense for it and stuff. So I mean, I've never seen ghosts. I know like I've had family members that have, and they've had like spiritual experiences and stuff, and I'm happy because dude, I would lose my shit. I cannot deal with ghosts, demons. I think possessions are the scariest things. Like I said in the last episode, I didn't even watch the movie The Exorcist. I just got told the story and I couldn't sleep for months. Like, demons and shit is to me one of the most horrifying things, because to me it feels like the most real. It feels like the thing that, you know, you do a ritual or you like, and that's why I've never done fucking like magic and shit, because there's a part of me that wants to doubt it, but when push comes to shove, I'm like, yo, man, I don't want to fuck with my eternal soul. Like, that's something I just don't understand. And it's something that I feel like has that sort of that weight to it, you know? And if this shit scares you, it should, because it is scary stuff.
So you're telling me that there's more of a chance that you can summon demons and be possessed by a spirit than there is being then there's a chance that there are living beings in a universe that is ever expanding out there.
100%. I would bet money on it.
You would bet money on that. That is some look, man.
Not a lot, but I would bet money on it.
Oh man, that is. You know what, Tasker? I know this isn't an alien episode. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm not mad, right? I'm just disappointed. That's all. That's all, dude.
Angry Father Satan.
That's who I am now. I'm angry Father Satan. This is me, and I'm just fucking disappointed in you.
Hey, man, different strokes for different folks. And, you know, you should be at least, you know, count your losses, man. At least I kind of believe in something.
And I will take that. I was just offended about the alien thing, but I know it wasn't a personal attack. I know not everybody will believe in the conspiracy of, you know, the reptilians and the Pleiadians and me being a starseed, and you know, I get it. It's fine. But anyway, I'm sorry, I got off topic. I was thinking about aliens again. Guys, that was it for part 1 of Satan and the Devil. Next time we'll be getting a little bit more into the well-known origin story of Lucifer and his goals. That's going to be some interesting shit.
Yes. So, of course, this episode was more of an overview. And next episode, we're going into who Satan really was as a character and what really happened when he got kicked out of heaven and what he did from that point onward and what his goals are. It'll be very interesting. We originally intended that to be a part of this episode, but this is just, it's a lot bigger than we expected. So we're just going to have to, split it up and give you bit by bit.
Exactly. And we're going to be talking about doing a part 3. This might be our first 3-part series, if you could believe it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be crazy. We'll give you more details on that next time.
Yeah, but till then, thank you for listening so far. I mean, yeah, this is part 1. Hopefully you got your you got little spooky chill and stuff. But even more spooky than that is the what we've uncovered recently about Count Chocula.
Oh shit! Are you going to tell him, or are you going to wait on that?
We can maybe tease him a little bit, but there's a little bit of a connection between Satan worshipers and Count Chocula.
Exactly, and like he said specifically, Satan worshipers, not Satanists. But there is a connection. I didn't know if we were going to tell him that, or if we were going to tell him about the news article we found.
Should we?
Okay, all I'm going to say, technically, Count Chocula is a registered sex offender right now.
Yeah. Oh, god damn. That's horrible.
It is. So we have so many new things to add to this outline for Count Chocula right now that it's getting a little big, but you guys need to hear this now. Like, you guys got to stop buying. Okay, all I will say is, I think Tasker will agree with me, stop fucking buying the cereal.
Well, like we talked about earlier, like Morningstar is like, a company of Satan worshipers and stuff. We think that Count Chocula, it's obviously like, the reason why that cereal got as far as it did was because of, satanic influence, but like it goes deeper. And like, it's just, you're going to love it when we get there.
Yeah. So please stay tuned for that. It won't be much longer. We appreciate the patience that you guys have shown with this Count Chocula episode. Okay.
It's going to be good. But till then, if you are listening to us at iTunes, please rate and review 5-star. Give us a couple words of encouragement or whatever it is that you really want to say to us. We are, of course, on Spotify. Give us a follow. If you want to see our posts, we have Instagram at CEOTPK, on Twitter, CEOTPK1. You can follow us on Facebook, Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind, or just CEOTPK. Or if you want to talk to us directly, we have discord.gg/b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X. It's just, I say it every episode, and that never gets any easier.
And I can never memorize it. I have to literally look at it every time we write the outline and be like, okay, oh, that's it. I don't have that memorized.
Maybe someday, but that day is definitely not today.
Just remember, you goddamn heathens, the truth is out there.
It most certainly is not.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. They're demons.